Well, look at me in my short videos, 12 minutes. This one's going to be a little bit longer because we're going to be doing some stuff. Now, if you're a beginner, you've never made a website before, or you've thought about it and it kind of just went over your head or what have you, I'm trying to go as slow as I can. So just bear with me and remember, we're doing things as we move along so that you get a better understanding of what is really going on and how this all integrates into making a site. But eventually, or ultimately, the goal is to have a website when we're done. So you're going to be building a website as we move along, and it's not going to look like this, because if you go to websites, let's go to another website. Let's go to Yellow Pages, for instance. If you go there, you're not seeing an H1. I mean, you might be seeing an H1 here, an H5 or somewhere, an H4, and a search bar and everything, but typically the first thing you see in a website is this, your navigation. Now, there are ways that you can list things in a website. There are two different types of lists. There are ordered lists and unordered lists. Ordered lists will give you numbers. So we go over here and we say, let's get rid of all this. Actually, let's go to the third page. No, let's go to another page. I'm going to go back. If you come here and we do an ordered list, right? Open tag, close tag, OL, OL. Within this ordered list, OL, we need then list items, LI. And the list items, don't forget to open and close because we are displaying something, we need to know where it ends. And we'll go first, and we'll go second, and they're all LIs, list items, third, list item, right? And fourth, we won't do too many list items, we'll just do 4 list items. Make sure you put I and not 1. We open the OL, we close the OL, we open the list item, we close the list item. So do this. Now that was anchors, baby, right? If you see, look, we now have an ordered list. We can't select the number, but we have an ordered list. It did it itself. If you tried to do this with paragraphs, you would notice, like if we were to go like this, if we were to say make a div, right? And within that div, we made paragraphs that said 1.first, 2.second, just to show you a little bit of a differentiation. 3.third. 4.fourth, right? Made it look exactly the same. We did exactly what this was. If you look, well, there is space between, but if you notice, we can highlight the whole thing. So this is already pre-programmed. It's, well, I don't want to say pre-programmed, but it's already been predefined as an ordered list, so you don't have to go through all that. There's not that much space between or anything like that. It's not like paragraphs, which have a predetermined amount of space between, like headers. It's more or less just numbers and whatever you put in there that you can't select. That's why you'd want to use an ordered list in that scenario. There may be times when we can use an ordered list. Typically I don't, but typically I will use unordered lists, UL. Now why UL? Well, if we open up a list item, close the list item. Good practice is to open it and close it before you put anything in there so you don't forget, especially if you're doing HTML, advanced HTML, where you've got a bunch of these tags and everything, you don't want to lose track of any one of them. A lot of these types of text editors like Visual Studio Code and everything like that, they will give you the closing tags on their own, or they'll have like sort of brackets that you can see which one's which. Just make sure that if you see something on your HTML that looks all wonky, double check, make sure that all the things that need to be closed are closed. So on this one, we'll do the same thing. First, second, third, and and forth, and we'll notice the difference. If you see now, this has dots and not numbers. We still can't select them because, again, they're predetermined, but they have dots. Now, this would be something that you can use either one of these for what we're about to do. But typically, we go with unordered lists in that sense because it's just easier referenced when we start doing styling, which we're not doing right now. But if we go back to the main page, I told you that these sites typically tend to have, let's go to another one. Let's go back to the other page. Have a navigation bar at top and something on the bottom. Now these can be referenced with certain tags. They have their own tags. And it's header and footer. Header and footer. It doesn't matter where you put these. Okay, we can put the header below type stuff. We can put the footer above type stuff. My foot, my head. Doesn't make any difference. It's not like suddenly the footer is going to jump to the bottom and the header is going to jump to the top. It's a way for your own referencing. It's a way for you to remember, oh yeah, I'm putting the footer here, I'm putting the header there. This is the bottom of the page, and you don't need a footer, and you don't need a header. Bottom page, top of the page, doesn't matter. However, since we're referencing that, I just said that we're using unordered lists for navigation bars. How do we get a navigation bar like this? Again, doesn't matter where you put these tags, but they're good for your own reference. We can say nav for navigation bar. Open, close, nav. And now we can put in an unordered list, and we can put in these references in each li. li ahref equals html, another.html, another, and keep it short and simple when you have your navigation header references because you're trying to fit them all together. Third.html. Third, not fid. There we go. And any pages that we make, we'll just continue to put up there, and we'll get rid of this. Okay. And we hit refresh. We have our unordered list here at the top. And if I say on the foot, if I put in the foot our copyright, we're using HTML, which is a text referencer. It's all text. So there's this thing called ASCII. ASCII is, if you're not sure, ASCII is American Standard Code for Information Interchange. It's symbols. It's certain symbols that can create, if you look here, like this is the ASCII table, certain symbols that can create certain characters, okay? HTML has its own ASCII references. And the way you can, and if you look, if we go to another website, if we go to HTML ASCII, right? If you look, you see the HTML number and the ASCII symbol. We can use all these HTML numbers to make ASCII symbols. So let's take a look. Let's do the ampersand pound 30, no, let's do 42. And if you notice, you have to put in a semicolon, right? You put in a semicolon so that it knows that you're referencing the star, right? That's what we referenced. But each one of these, like the at and everything, and if you keep changing the number, if you put it to 68, and if you don't know any of these ASCII symbols, just look over here, go to the, any of these pages that you find, and you see now we have a D, like any of these pages that you find, they'll have these references and everything. What we want is, let's do a copyright. I know it. If you want to look it up, because I've done it a million times, you want to look it up, you got to go all the way down. There are more here. Hold on. There are a ton of these things. And if you say printable, control, like they're all different types, but there are a ton of these things. I mean, look at this list. It's ridiculous. So you don't need, just look up the one that you need the most. And if you look up HTML copyright, see, it's copy or this, all right? We're going to just do the copy ones. We'll say copy. I wanted to make that a surprise, but, whatever. Copy that, and now, oh yeah, copyright. So nobody can steal it from you. And there you go. You got your copyright symbol, copyright. Would copyright be? I forgot if it's before or after. Well, anyway, we'll do it before. See if this looks right. I think this is wrong. No, I think it's definitely before. I'll just put a space there. Okay, and there you go. But like I said, HTML has ASCII references and everything that you can use, so you can have stuff like copyrights and whatever else that you have. That's our footer, that's our header. And again, you're going to say, but it looks nothing like that. Well, we're not up to the styling yet. We're just doing the HTML. But we want to build something that we can reference over and over and over again. That'll show us whatever we want to show. Sorry, I'm getting out of the camera as I'm belching here. But that's that. And headers, now let me think. Was there anything else I wanted to throw in here at this time? I think for now we should just have you digest this. Now what you can do if you want is, before I come back, it's going to be a few days, but before I come back, what you can do if you want is you can just play around with adding to the footer, adding to the header, or you can just wait for me and we'll continue to add things based on what we need. As of now, I don't really want, let's get rid of all this crap. Yeah, we'll probably, no, let's keep it for now, because most likely I'm going to want to throw some other things in there. But we're going to, when I come back, we're going to expand on the meta. I mean, what are we at here? I don't want to put too much on you. I want you to just get used to, let's throw in little things. Okay. Like I said, meta, that is something that means it references itself, right? Now, there isn't just a meta char set. There's also a meta. Well, let me just make, because it's been a while since I've done this. So let's take a look at something. Let's inspect this. It's not my page, so you can steal whatever you want from here. If we go to, let's see, the head. If you look, right, you've got meta name, meta HTTP equivalent. The HTTP equivalent, all of this gives you the ability to have it show up on all different types, phones and whatever. Cell phones, smaller screens. It's telling the HTML that it should be able to fit it all in a very small space or a big space dependent upon it. It does give you a little bit more maneuverability. Let's put that in there. Let's put the meta HTTP equivalent is really not. it's okay. You don't need it per se. I mean, you don't need any of it really when you look at it. And we'll do the, nah, that's not what I want. Forget that. But if you look here, name viewport, right? Content. This is also an HTML5 thing. Width equals device width. It's telling the server to scale this screen however it needs to be scaled. And we're saying minimal scale 1, user scalable no, meaning that the user can't change the scale on its own, and the minimum scale is, you know, its base size, a base size of a computer screen, more or less. Scale equals 1, and then we'll say user scalable equals no. Now I think if you were to just, let me double check. If you have something like Visual Studio Code that does it for you, I think, let's see if it'll do it for me. No, it won't do it yet. Damn it. I think it would do all that for you anyway. But in this case, the meta name is a means to tell the server that, now here, right here, like viewport, right? There are whole predetermined descriptions or content pieces that will give it a certain amount of information so that it knows how to scale it. If you go to name equals description and content equals this site is whatever it is, and we'll have it be whatever we want it to be, man. The description is a means to help you get found on the internet. When they talk about search engine optimization, and then we have another one called keywords. And that content can be separated by commas. Keywords, site, this. Do I have to put commas? I don't know. Yeah, no, that's fine. This, hours, days, picture, Cleopatra. As of now, with this meta name, keywords, and descriptions and stuff like that, if we were to, now if we go back, let's refresh. If we go back and we look at, our information, you'll see that we have the description we just put in. We see that we have the site. You know what? I think I was wrong. I think this is supposed to just be in one quote. Comma. Put it in one quote and separate it with commas. And let the internet do the rest. If you look, all this stuff about site, this, hours, everything, these are keywords. And the description is, all that content makes it searchable via Google or whatever search engine you have. If I were to go Cleopatra, now we can find ourselves. The only problem is we don't have a lot of search engine optimization. And we just made a site and everything, but if you would have to go all the way to the end and you would find us. We're a new site, we're not spending any money on these keywords. We're not going to be higher in the run. But if you wanted to improve your search engine optimization, what you would do is you would put in keywords, descriptions. This is how everything is found on search engines. So again, the meta area, the meta tags, are more than just telling it what character set we're using. It also gives you the opportunity to reference itself and its size and its scalability, and reference its descriptions and keywords so people can find you on the internet. Just keep that in mind when you're doing search engine optimization. Again, we're going to get back to that later. We're not going to really worry about that, but we have pretty much gone through all the different baseline display concepts that are necessary in creating a website. There really isn't anything else other than, well, user interface, user interactions. And when we come back, we're going to go through all the different types of user interactions and how exactly it works in the overall HTML site that we're making. So that's when the fun really begins. So I hope you have managed to get through this thus far. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will be back in a few days. I'll see you then.